Tell me why it's such a strange building to renovate.
Good question. We have this really cute little model of the Star of Hope here. So this used to be one structure here on the west side with a roof system. This used to be one structure here on the east side with a conventional gable roof system. They tore down the roof system on the west side and the east side. They connected the two buildings together. They added this giant mansard roof, which is this whole thing right here, and then they connected them with this nice elaborate stairway in these center bump outs. As you can tell from the model and being out here on the Star of Hope, it's a really large, heavy, top-heavy structure. To support the roof loads, they made these truss systems that are up in the attic. There's 4 trusses total. There's 2 kings on the inside, and then the queen trusses are on the outside. The Oddfellows had these wooden components in. They stopped them here, but as I said earlier, they didn't follow their roof loads all the way down to the foundation. Where the king trusses made the transition right here, these knuckles had extensive water damage and were starting to fail and break. So technically, on the south side, all this load was causing this wall to want to force out and literally pop and fall to the ground. So we incorporated steel trusses that go all the way up to the bottom heel of the kings and queen trusses. The king trusses, we had a straight line all the way down to the foundation. So we used steel components here. We went to wood, we went to wood. Same on this side. On the queen trusses, we had another obstacle to overcome. You can't carry a load right down through the windows and through the storefronts here. So we installed steel headers here. That's a steel header. That's a horizontal member. A steel header here. That's a vertical steel member on both sides. That is a wood member on both sides, down onto the steel goalposts on level 1, and then the steel goes down onto the foundation. So basically, in a nutshell, we're taking all this load and we transfer the loads, the weight, all the way down to the foundation. My guess is in about 5 to 10 years' time, was gonna have the possibility of collapsing and falling to the ground. So here we are on the west side. So basically, this is what you see here is, this is a massive temporary wall that goes all the way through to the crawl space and goes all the way up and helps support the entire west side of the building. The reason we constructed this is so basically we can take apart and rebuild the west side exterior walls. We were very concerned if that compressed even 1/4 of an inch, it's really hard to get the building back up in the air. So we're completely rebuilding the sidewalls. We put in new sills. All the sills were compromised. As you can see, we've done a massive temporary walls that go all the way through the structure. This side is sheathed. We're sheathed this side with fire rating material because we're the proximity of the post office. The east side is also, we have a fire rated board that we're putting on because we're within 18 inches of the neighbor's property over there. On the south side here, our crew has implemented these steel, we call these the goalposts. We had to put the steel in to help carry the load of the 3rd level trusses. And over there, those 2 posts, there are the loads that go all the way down for the king trusses all the way down to the foundation. We're walking from the west side over to the east side here, and here in the middle is the alleyway. So after they added the 3rd level of the Star Hope structure, the mansard roof, they had to connect the two buildings together with this magnificent stairway. Right here, this is actually an exterior wall of the east side. So at one point in time, this was an exterior wall. And while I'm here, I'd like to point out too, that the east side of the Star of Hope, the common building now, they're at two different heights. And so this east side building used to be higher than the west side, and you can see here from the step up. Here we are on the east wall. You'll notice we have the same temporary bearing walls to help support the loads as the carpenters do the work on the exterior wall. So what we're doing out here is we're basically on the west side, we're mirror imaging exactly what's taking place that's already I've shown you guys over there. Because we're so close to the abutting property here, there really isn't any way to set up any kind of a staging so we could actually do work on the east side. There's so many obstacles that we had to deal with. We're figured, the cantilever staging was the best solution to keep the workers safe and to be able to do our job. What I'd like to do is show you guys, I can actually point out some of the steel members that are inside the walls. They're all covered up, unfortunately, and these are directly supported under the king trusses. And then there's, if you come over here, you can see these are the big steel components. Here's the original. This is pretty interesting. This is the original rafter, and you can see at this transition here, this is where these were actually starting to break. So there's a tremendous amount of force pushing this structure out that way. So this is why we added these steel supports to help, and they're sandwiched in there together. So these steel posts on the side of this are taking the place of this. We are approximately 30 feet off the ground. So all these big steel components had to come up from the staging and then put in very, very carefully. They also had to come out to the island, and that was another whole logistical challenge in itself. So here we are here's the top of the tower on the cantilever staging. This is where the cantilever exits the Star of Hope through the windows here. And you can see the cantilever weights are over here that counterbalance the weights. So the staging is actually out there, and the staging goes up from there, and it actually it's hung down below there. It's a pretty amazing feat that they were able to get this done. While the model's here, it's easier to explain exactly why the building suffered such a significant amount of water damage. All the water from the roof came down and the gutter and collected right here on the gutters. The water backed up and literally rotted the south side walls from the eave returns, which is the transition between level 2 and 3, and did the major damage from here down, here down, here down. So this is where this was one of the roots of all the problems of the Star of Hope, is these decorative eaves. So there used to be gutters here, and so all the water that comes off the mansard roof came down on here, and you can see where the gutter used to be right in here, and there was literally grass and shrubbery growing out of here, and you can see it just from here down is where all the issues started. You can see everything's just, and we're going to repair and replace as necessary. These are the new asphalt roof shingles. These are the new copper pans. Remember where I talked about this is the root of the problem? So when we got here, these are new gutters. they were all full of debris and sediment. So we're gonna roof this, and then these new copper pans are gonna shed the water. You can see right into the gutter, and the new downspouts to go on the Starter Hope. We are on the south side of the Starter Hope on the second level. And what we've done here, this is the actual finished product. We have a finished storm panel here. All this has been reproduced. We got the copper flashing here that's under to make these weather tight. The existing the water absolutely compromised all these finishes on the south side. So we've gone through the effort to make this look really nice for the south side because it's so visible from the street. It's a wrap?
I don't know, what do you think?
Want to get out of here?
Is there anything else wrong with the building?
No, you saw pretty much everything.
Okay, I guess we're done.
Do you want to
Yes, let's tail